Okay, so got our new subfolder path, and we're going to use the same process here to iterate. So we're going to this point, we want to read each query file in the subfolders here. So let's just test that that works by printing out the name. And what we're going to do is, these are actually renamed the wrong way around, so that'll be queries. This will be subfolders. And then that can be queries. So now let's run that. So what we're expecting to see here is for each of the subfolders, we want to read the query names, query file names. There's nothing in raw, so expecting nothing there. So let's run that. Here we go, raw has nothing, and staging has our two subfolders. So that's great, that's working perfectly. Alright, and we're just doing a simple example here. We can do a more complex option here, and we can walk the file tree using the file visitor interface. But we're not going to do that right now. We've got a very simple thing, is that all we want to do is iterate through all the queries in the subfolders. So at this point here, so recall that we are running our iterate subfolders method. We've got our starting path, and here we iterate through the queries. We pass in the local directory and the subfolder name, and here we actually iterate through the queries. It's at this point here, run each query, sending the contents, sending the results to BigQuery, to Google BigQuery. So it's here that we have file name which will correspond. So file name must equal the BigQuery table name, and the subfolder must equal the dataset name. Right, so that's a key point, so let's just put that up here. And then obviously we could pass that in as a parameter to our method. Alright, so at this point now, we want to run each query, sending the results to BigQuery. So here we've got, so this is where we actually need to read the file contents. It should contain a valid query. Run this query. Right. So first thing we need to do is we need to actually read the contents. So in our file operations, we are going to use, so we're going to do another query here. So I'm going to say another method, read query, and we're going to borrow from here. So we've got the path. So what we're going to do is we need to pass in the path over here, and we'll call it this parameter, we'll call it query file, and this new buffered reader here is expecting a path, so that should work. And we're going to go system.out.println line. So now if we run our file operations.read query, and we pass in the file, what we can expect to see is the actual contents of this. Actually, the query itself is being read from each file. So let's run, so it's going to print out the line, read the query. So let's run that, and there we go, we've got invoices, got a IO exception here. Okay, so we've read the first query, invoices, fine. It hasn't quite worked out 100%. So in staging, Java Neo char sets malformed input exception. So that is interesting. Input length equals 1. So that IO exception trick us to, let's go, we're trying to figure out where exactly it's throwing it, because there's IO exception could be from the read query, or it could be from iterate queries, because that's also got a IO exception here. So what we're going to do is, I think it's this one, because let's just go one dot, because it says IO exception, and then that was here. And what we'll do is we'll do the same thing here. Yeah, I see this X here is actually IO exception or directory iterator exception. So it's got to be this one. We can just confirm that by running this again. And here it is, 1.io exception. There's a malformed input exception. Input length equals 1. So just coming from here, so it's reading our first query, but it's not moving on. It's catching the IO exception and not moving on because it's getting the exception and it's staying there. It's not moving on to read the next file. So let's try a different character set. Let's go just try something like that to see what happens. Okay, no difference. Malformed input exception. Okay. Still not. Okay. Let's put it back to what it was. Yes, ASCII. So something not happy about something here. So let's try a quick search. Okay. We want to have a list of supported encodings for each file. Try each encoding in turn, maybe start with UTF-8. So we already tried that. So there's something not happy there. Each file, try each encoding in turn, maybe starting with UTF-8. Okay. So we already tried that one. Put length equals 1.